Joined now by Congressman Jim Himes of Connecticut, the top Democrat on the House Intelligence Committee. Congressman Himes, thank you for joining us. Looking at what you have seen so far, have the objectives been met? We heard the president say the nuclear program has been eliminated. Obliterated was his word. That's been a goal of U.S. presidents for some 20 years.
Yeah, John, I mean, obviously, it's way too early to tell. We don't even know. This raid was signaled many days in advance. It's not inconceivable that the Iranians, not being dumb people, might have put this stuff on a truck and taken it elsewhere, in which case we just, closed a bunch of, tunnels in a mountain. So it's way too early to tell what the actual effect on the nuclear program is. And, of course, it's way too early to tell how this plays out, right? I mean, we've seen this movie before. Every conflict in the Middle East has its Senator Tom Cottons, who promised us mushroom clouds. In the Iraq War, it was Condoleezza Rice promising us a mushroom cloud. And initially, and this is true of every one of these wars, in Libya, in Iraq, and Afghanistan, initially things look pretty good. Saddam Hussein is gone. Muammar Gaddafi is gone. The Afghan Taliban are gone. And then over time, we start to learn what the cost is. 4,400 Americans dead in Iraq, the Taliban back in power. So bottom line, the president has taken a massive gamble here. Some chance it works out. I'm, as a member of Congress, disturbed that this was undertaken without congressional approval. There's not much ambiguity in the Constitution about who gets to approve these things. But bottom line is, we don't know. And if you look at the three conflicts I just mentioned, I would keep the optimism under the hat for a little while yet. But
some of the president's critics have actually applauded the action last night. Let me read you what Adam Kinzinger, obviously no friend of the president, had to say. He said, the U.S. attack on the nuclear facilities, in my opinion, was the right call. We will see what the results are, but now the key now the key is suppressing surface-to-surface missile fire and negotiate an end to the fight with Iran. Good call by the president. Is it possible that this ends up being just that, a good call by President Trump?
Is it possible, again, setting aside the constitutional issues, which we should never set aside because the Constitution matters, is there some chance that, we got all the nuclear material, the regime falls, and, next spring we're picnicking at Samarkand? Yeah, there is some chance that that is true. But if you look at the history, and again, all we have is history to go on, if you look at the history of our military involvements in the region, they almost never end with the best case scenario. In fact, they usually end in something approximating the worst case scenario. And, again, the president owns this thing, and we'll see down the road. The Iranians may decide that it's foolish to attack our troops, to move terrorist cells around the country. Maybe they're just going to withdraw from the non-proliferation treaty, kick the inspectors out of Iran, take the uranium, which they have left, if they have any left, and build a bomb in secret. So, sadly, the story will not be told probably for months or years. But again, if you're rolling the dice on the idea that we're going to see a best-case scenario coming out of military action in the Middle East, at best, you are taking a very tough gamble in which the House almost always wins.
And what do you think is the worst-case scenario?
Oh, well, the worst-case scenario is that, the Iranians have a lot more missiles than we think they do, and we end up with dead soldiers and sailors in the region, that they managed to move the nuclear material out of Fordo, and it's sitting in a warehouse right now, and as we speak, they are building a device. I mean, believe me, I will concede that there is some small chance for a best-case scenario here. There always is. But again, history suggests that you better be aware of the fact that the best-case scenario almost never happens. So, I mean, you can paint a truly apocalyptic picture of any number of a dozen. Look, we haven't even talked about the other rulers in the region, right? The King of Jordan, right, who is a critical American ally, sits atop a great deal of popular unrest. It's not inconceivable that his people may decide, hey, we've had it with you being allied with the Israelis in the United States, and now we have chaos in Jordan. So again, we could spend the next hour spinning the downside of this thing, and it may be a while before we know whether this gamble paid off or not. But again, looking at history, you'd be sort of crazy to put all your chips on the best outcome anytime we enter into military conflict in the Middle East.
All right, Congressman Jim Himes, top Democrat on the House Intelligence Committee.